All right, so this here is number 5 and number 6 on the review. So let's go through this. So the first thing I do when I take a look at this is I see this x to the 0. So I'm just going to cross that out because I know x to the 0 is just 1. Then the next thing I do is I'm going to take all these negative exponents and put them where they belong. So I'm just going to draw a line. And this x to the 4th really wants to go in the denominator. So I'll put x to the 4th in the denominator. This y to the 6th is perfectly happy in the numerator, so I'll keep him there. Now remember, this negative sign is making the whole fraction negative. It has nothing to do with an exponent. So I'm just going to bring that negative sign out front, and I'm going to keep the 5 in the denominator. And then this y to the negative 2 wants to go into the numerator, so I'm going to bring him up to the numerator and make him positive. Now I'm going to simplify it. Again, my whole fraction is negative. Y to the 6th times y squared would be y to the 8th. And then in the denominator, I'll have 5x to the 4th. And then that will be my final answer. All right, now this one here on number 6, this whole quantity is raised to the 0. So I can really just cross that whole thing out because that's all going to equal 1. So now I'm going to just look inside. I'm going to forget this negative 3 outside for just a moment. So I'm going to simplify my fraction. So again, this negative sign is just making the whole fraction negative, so I'm going to bring that out front. 6 over 9, I can divide both numerator and denominator by 3. So this will be 2 over 3. And then the denominator, I'm still going to have x squared and y. But I still have to raise the whole thing to the negative 3 power. So remember, this negative sign says flip it. So first let's just raise it to the 3rd power. So maybe I'll raise the whole thing to the negative 3 power. So if I'm going to multiply a negative 3 times, it's still going to be a negative. And then I'm going to have 2 to the minus 3 all over 3 to the minus 3. And then this will become x to the minus 6, and this will become y to the minus 3. Now I have a whole bunch of negative exponents, so now let's put them where they belong. So 2 to the negative 3, well I know 2 to the 3rd would be 8, but it's a negative 3, so the 8 wants to go into the denominator. Again, I still have a negative out front here, kind of losing that negative, my negative out front. And then I have 3 to the 3rd. Well, I know 3 to the 3rd is 27, but I have a negative, so I have to move it up into the numerator. X to the negative 6, well, I have to move that up to the numerator. And y to the negative 3, I'll have to move that up to the numerator. So really doing these in little pieces, trying not to do too much all at once, is probably the key to doing these correctly.